Hey family, what's going on? Klaus here, and welcome back to Surviving with Mekanism. Or I guess since the last episode was technically the finale of Surviving with Mekanism, we should call this something different. I'm thinking something like experiments with Mekanism, or just having fun with Mekanism, because I've got some projects that I want to do that are really large scale that you can do in Mekanism, or I'm sorry, you can do it in vanilla, but it's tough. And so Mekanism makes these particular things easier. So I'm excited to give it a try. I've got a really big first project ready, but first thing I want to show you guys is that I have built back my temple. Yes, I fixed it all back. I'll show you guys the whole thing. I even put the dirt down here to make it look nice and clean. It's as clean as it's gonna be. I could do a couple of things maybe a little bit better, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. I built back my fusion reactor. It is formed and it is happy, and put the stones and everything back down and everything. It's awesome. Now, one of the things that I did off camera that I told you that I would tell you about, besides fixing everything, which again, that wasn't really that fun, so I didn't want to tell you everything, but I made our fissile fuel system very, very compact. So let me just quickly explain it for those of you who have been following along the Surviving with Mekanism. This used to be a very long thing. It started here in this block and went out and went over, and it was one block tall, sprung out, and now it's nice and compressed and beautiful, if I may add. So the bottom left is your rotary condensator. Your right is your chemical infuser that needs oxygen, and your the top one is a pressurized reaction chamber. These are the only three machines that need water or oxygen, and so in the middle between them is a quantum entangler outputting water and oxygen. So real easy to set up. So we have the three items that need the water all with right next to the quantum entangler. Right next to the pressurized reaction chamber is your chemical oxidizer, which is receiving the sulfur from the PRC, which is taking the coal and converting it, Now, this stuff, the sulfur dioxide, is getting kicked down into your chemical infuser, mixing with that oxygen that's getting from the quantum entangler, and boom, you get your sulfur trioxide. And then it is it kicking out? Yeah, it's going down. So it's coming out here and mixing with the water vapor to make sulfuric acid, which again, the water vapor is coming from this rotary condensator. And then, so that basically everything is going down, over, so you have the dissolution chamber, which turns your sulfuric acid into hydrofluoric acid, and then this chemical infuser receives that hydrofluoric acid and makes the uranium hexafluoride along with your uranium oxide, which is from up here. And then it kicks off to the centrifuge, which makes fissile fuel and then goes out the pipes. The only other things that you need to know about is the power, which is all running in the back. So you can see all that. And then also the QIO exporters, bringing in the coal, bringing in the uranium, and bringing in the fluorite. So yeah. Oh, and also we have the basic chemical tank to let off the excess hydrogen that's being produced by our PRC. So very simple. If you guys want to take a snapshot of this or whatever, or just refer to this video later if you guys want to compress your own, this is the most compressed that I could get it without it folding into itself and becoming like a cube. I didn't want it to stay flat, two-dimensional, or as two-dimensional as machines can be. We could have done a too-high build, but this thing, I don't know, it gave me enough room to be able to walk through and get to my portals, which I did move them. So besides that, that's pretty much the only change, except for the obvious, which again is rebuilding all of these machines down here. Well, this never got messed with, but this machine got messed with. And you saw it last episode, it was built back, but it wasn't the floor and the walls and everything weren't quite right. So we got that fixed. So now guys, today I want to get to the matter at hand, and that's I'm going to be digging a massive hole. One of the things that I've never done in this particular series is build any kind of vanilla farms aside from our melon farm. And I was thinking, how cool would it be to make a mob farm? Because I think a mob farm would be really useful. Be able to get gunpowder for elytra whenever we go kill the dragon, and excess rotten flesh, and not that that matters much, excess bones, whatever the witch gives you, if the witch will spawn. I'm not entirely sure. But I thought, you know what, the best thing I can do for myself is pick a spot. And a lot of the times people will put them up in the air. But what if you put it underground? Well, the issue with that is that you can't make stuff spawn as fast if the farm is surrounded by blocks. And remember, mobs can spawn within 128 blocks of you. 128 blocks away, stuff can spawn. So that means that we need a 128 block radius hole in the ground that goes all the way from the surface to the bedrock. And that is why I'm going to be using 16 digital miners to start this process today, and actually probably get it all done. So as you can see, we have, oh, that's the steel casing, isn't it? We have, so this formulaic assemblator, this is a formulaic assemblator that makes personal chests. This one makes the digital miner, and I've got a few other formulaic assemblators strewn about that make logistical sorters and robots in other parts of it. So that means that if I go into my portable QIO dashboard, go down to the bottom, you can see there's a digital miner. If I pull it out of there, then you're gonna see things bounce around a little bit, dance, 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 and there you go. There's another digital miner, and it's gonna keep moving because it's gonna be, pulling stuff out and stuff. So that means that I now have unlimited digital miners. Now, the only thing that I didn't do, which I probably should have done before I started filming, honestly, is getting unlimited quantum entangleporters. So let's actually make that here on camera. You guys probably have seen this, but I have all of these things on automatic craft, I think. I actually may not have all these things. I've got a lot of these refined obsidian ingots. You have to have the quantum entangleporters for the power. So, okay, so I need, let me think. I need formulaic assemblators. I did make one that does this, right? The only way to know really is to look around and see. So I actually have to physically make each. I forgot about this. That's so funny. Okay, well, let's make another assemblator, which I've got all the material to make. I just forgot that I have to have quantum entangleporters. So, crafting table and chest. I've got plenty of wood. I've got like plenty of wood. I got to show you some other stuff. I'll show you guys later. But there we go. So we have a chest, we have a crafting table, and then what else do I need? Steel casing, steel, and green stuff. Okay, steel casing, which is down here, and green squares. Okay, cool. So now I can make my assemblator. Perfect. And now I need to make one. This is going to be for the quantum entangleporter. Let's go ahead and slap that thing down right there. I also need to get my paper. You guys have seen this process many times, but if you haven't, you're hopefully learning something. If you have, then thank you for your patience. So today's going to be a fun day. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so to make a quantum, then I'm going to need loads of refined obsidian ingots and also the purple stuff, right? So that here, I'm just going to go ahead and grab all that. I don't think I have this on a assemblator because it's not making more of it. So I'm gonna have to physically make the refined obsidian ingots. But the other purple stuff, like the purple squares, the purple circles, the teleportation cores, all of those are good. And then that's it. Oh wow. Okay, so that's actually a pretty simple, really expensive piece of equipment, but it's relatively simple. Let me see. I think this is it. It's gonna confirm. Yes, okay, so let's encode that. Stock control is on, and now I can craft a single item. There we go. Okay, so now that I've done that, I need to grab my importer, my exporter, and my redstone adapter, okay? And then we're gonna import into the machine by exporting from the QIO, and that's gonna be here. So item stack, refined obsidian ingots, ultimate control circuits, atomic alloys, and teleportation cores. All right, there you go. That's done, and I can go ahead and set that to bring items in. Okay, so now let's input on the right, and that should start bringing in the items. Again, I don't have an excess of the refined obsidian ingots, but I can throw them in there for now. We should start seeing some, okay, teleportation cores are filling in right now. So we're gonna give this a little bit of time. I've actually got plenty of stuff I can go ahead and start making these. It doesn't have to be connected to the rest of the network, so I'm not gonna automate quantum entangleporter. Actually, you know what? I should probably automate quantum entangleporters, shouldn't I? I mean, they're very useful. So let's throw this on. You can operate without a filter, and we're gonna set this to output. Okay, and then the other thing is we need a redstone adapter. Set that down right there. Quantum entangleporter. Set that to go, and then I just want one. I'm just gonna want one at a time. So there you go, and then now if I set this to inverted, then we are good to go. Now if I set that to auto mode, it should make one and then stop. There we go. Okay, so now I have unlimited quantum entangleporters, and I'm not even, for some reason, oh, I didn't go down far enough, sorry. Okay, so I've got this one quantum entangleport. It's gonna be working for a while because it's gonna be trying to fill these teleportation cores and all of these other pieces, and it's gonna be limited by the refined obsidian ingots. I'm gonna need 12 of these machines. That means I need 48. So I think I actually have the perfect number, 36, 40, 44. You know what, let's just make a little bit more refined obsidian ingots just to be safe, okay? So this has to go here, which means I always forget how to make the refined obsidian ingots. Osmium compressor, refined obsidian there, metallurgic infuser, diamond and obsidian dust. That's all right. Okay, so I need 8 diamond and a stack of obsidian dust. I'm going to enrich the diamond just to finish this process off. Of course, it's going to bounce into this chest over here. Infusing factory, that should be done relatively quickly, and then I'm also going to need another stack of osmium. And then that should be it. We should be good to go now. Again, I should probably automate all this, but who has the time, right? Who has the time? All right, so that should be good. I'm just going to throw what I can in there. We're going to dump out everything else, and we're also going to need loads of exporters and, well, importers. We're gonna need loads of importers, but that's automatic anyway, so we're good. All right, so let's make a giant hole in the ground. We're gonna be using 4, 12, 16 digital miners, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Okay, so let me show you guys what I've been up to. Oh, yeah, okay, so mining lots of stuff. Remember, I started at 0, 0, and each of these squares and all the squares in between, I've already mined out all the uranium out of the world, and that's just mainly what I've been focusing on. Remember, this was my giant hole in the ground that I made before. I have now a new, let me just teleport over there just to show you guys what's going on. I now have a new oak orchard. So if I need oak wood, all I gotta do is come over here and turn this baby on. It's configured to pull out the logs. And then as long as I hit backslash, I can make it to where everything is attracted to me, all the saplings and stuff. I just hit true and boom. So everything will just fly right to me. And then I replant on these squares. This took me a little while, but I wanted to make sure that I had unlimited oak for a house that I'm gonna be building very soon on this series. Remember, this is a once a week series now. So we did that with oak, and then I also did that with spruce, which again, I try to keep it like, I didn't want to ruin the scenery at all. So I did it in like this. So as you can see, this is like a really, really dense, like giant spruce forest. All the floor is all, or the ground is all level and stuff. But as you can see, like from a, if you're going to fly up on this thing, yeah, it looks kind of weird, but it also matches sort of, you know? So that's why these are so far away and in such a weird place. So I'm going to give you guys the tour of where we're going to be building this giant hole in the ground. I'm sorry it took so long to get to this point, but it just, you know, I had to show you guys what was going on. Lots of stuff off camera. Also, I need to be able to automate digital miners and quantum entangleporters, which is pretty awesome. So, as I go to the northwest, we're going to be stumbling upon a specific biome that is best. It's known to be best for mob grinders and mob farms and stuff. You guys probably already know it is a desert. So if I keep going in this direction, and I have obviously have a landmark or a waypoint, sorry, created, but I just wanted to show you guys how far this is if I'm flying. And again, I got this gravitational modulating unit, right? So my mecha suit can get me here about as fast as possible. I feel like I'm off track a little bit. No, I'm actually, oh yeah, I was definitely going the wrong direction. Okay, let me turn a little bit. So I wanted to give you guys a feel for how far away this thing will be. It's literally the biggest spot as far as deserts go. So this should be perfect. I also really tried not to have any like rivers and stuff flowing through this because I am going to have to get rid of the water. And I've already gotten rid of a lot of water. I used sponges. I got those from the Ocean Monument using my digital miner. That came as a suggestion from the comments, but I knew that, or I knew that was a thing. It was just going to be too much work to get that done, so I just didn't do it. But definitely needed to do it. So here is our spot. We're going to be pulling out every single block all the way to Bedrock right here. And I'm actually curious to see if I've got, I don't have the center marked. See, there's my desert. It's right by a village, by the way. So this spot here, and you know what, I'll take you over there. This part here, come on. I've got some aquamarine or whatever, prismarine. This stuff really stands out on the environment. So this will be the corner. If I did my math right, this actual corner will be taken out. And it's going to go off in that direction and off in that direction, just about exactly 256 blocks in both directions. So that means knowing the very middle would probably be good. If it's a 4x4, then that means it's directly between all of this. I mean, I can calculate the middle off camera. I don't have to do this now. It's not super important right now. What I really need to do is just go ahead and start my digital miners. All right, so I marked the spots where all the digital miners need to be. It is exactly 32 blocks in that direction from the center. So this would be block number 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 all the way to 32. And that's in both directions because remember the maximum size that you can go with the digital miner radius wise is 32. So I'm going to set that to 32. I'm going to set this to maximum 2325 and a minimum of 0. So it's literally going to take out every single block out of the world. And I'm going to set this to where it is inverse mode on, and it's going to be for the quantum entangler porter and the importer. That way, or the importer. Wow, this stuff's moving around a lot. Importer. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's what I need. I'm going to grab another one, and I'm going to grab another quantum entangler porter just to be safe. Okay, so let's go ahead and set this and filter. Item stack set and item stack set. So now the two things that are feeding it power and pulling out the items will not be mined because I'm going to set this to inverse mode. And there we go. So now it is set to mine at the maximum radius from bedrock to sky every single block. And of course, it's going to be going into the QIO system, so I don't have to worry about storage. Let's set that down, turn that on to energy, and energy output is to the left. Perfect. And then QIO importer. I don't have to set a filter. I'm going to set this to on and set the frequency. There we go. So this thing's actually ready to go now. Let me go ahead and hit start. 281,000. That's a lot, but unfortunately this is not working. Why is this not working? Oh, it's set to, okay, it was set to input, now it's set to output. There we go. Okay, and it's still not working. What's the deal? Oh, it is working. It's not upgraded. Oh my goodness. That is going to be a pain in the rear. Okay, I've got to get 8 speed upgrades. I should probably automate this stuff too. So speed and energy upgrades would be a great thing to automate. Unfortunately, I'd have to do like, I'd have to put a crusher in the system, and that would just be a really big pain. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to manually make everything right now. This is 8 and this is 8. Remember, I need 16, right? 8. Yeah, so I need 2 stacks of gold and I need 2 stacks of osmium. And then I'm going to need, I think it's 4 stacks of infused alloy. See, I knew this job would be big and I knew there would be things that would come up that I had forgotten. So we're working through it, okay? Yeah, so for each of these, I'm going to need 2 infused alloy and 2 glass. Yeah, so I'm going to need 4 stacks of each of those. So I'm going to need more infused alloy, that's for sure. Good thing it's automated, right? See, I've got lots of things automated, but a lot of things that aren't. Okay, crushing factory. Also, I'm going to need the anchor upgrades, which I do have the anchors automated. So we're good there. At least I think I do. I don't know. But yeah, so that was why it looked like it wasn't working, because it wasn't upgraded. See? There you go. This is going to be perfect. So once I get the speed and energy and anchor upgrades plugged into that one digital miner, it's going to run super, super fast. And then I'm going to move on and set up the next one. And then the next one, I'm going to do that 16 times today, which is going to be crazy. I probably won't put you guys through that, the whole thing anyway. I might put you through some of it, but I won't put you through all of it. And then I'm going to set it up and I'm going to let it run. I'm literally going to leave my computer running overnight, and I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to need to mess with it. All right, so throw the glass in the infused alloy. Oh, I'm actually way under. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 energy upgrades out of 16. So yeah, I'm gonna have to have double the glass and double the infused alloy for the other set. I don't know, I felt that in the back of my head. I'm like, wait a minute, you're wrong, but it's okay. So let's throw all these in here. And I could throw all these energy upgrades and stuff into the QIO, because why not, right? And then infused alloy, it should be automatic. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, and it's just gonna take it a couple of seconds. Let's go ahead and make this group. There's my speed upgrades. There we go. And then I accidentally put all of them in there, but that's okay. Oh my gosh, stop moving. Okay. My goodness, there we go. Okay, so we now have all of the upgrades, loads of upgrades to get this job done and get it done right. So let's throw all these in there, throw that in there for fun. There we go. Okay, so map, scroll all the way across. It is far away, guys, but it is a large area. Go ahead and go to the desert. I hit the wrong button. I'm using the waypoints because I haven't set up a teleporter because I'm lazy. All right, so yeah, so this is where we're gonna be. So I'm gonna run up to here. We're gonna slap a few upgrades in there. And should have a lot of upgrades actually. Yeah, there's the speed upgrades. And it pulls out in groups of 8. That's perfect. Okay, and then also the anchor upgrade. There we go. All right, so speed, energy, anchor. There we go. So this thing will be running, it's 240,000 blocks. That is gnarly. Okay, so I'm gonna grab another one and we're gonna set it up and it should be super smooth. And then I'll bring you guys in for the, for the next step. But this is gonna be here, so I'm gonna go up this way and here it is the next one. So I'm basically putting the digital miner flat on top of these the glowstone, since I really took my time and counted all that stuff out. So many of you guys may be at this point wondering, like, is it worth it? It's probably not, but again, if you wanted to do this, and I've seen people do this, I've seen people spend the time in vanilla, actually, and try to get this done, and it takes an age and a half, okay? It just takes forever. And so, in my mind, I'm like, why not do it with Mekanism? I think that'd be kind of fun. And once you get it set up, and this is true for all Mekanism, okay? Once you get it set up, it's worth it. It just takes a little bit of doing to get it going. So there we go, hit that. Oh, okay, I've got to actually set it up, of course. So let's grab the quantum entangler and the importer. I always kind of have to keep my eye on how many I have. That way, it makes it a little bit easier to find it. Okay, config, new filter, item, bam, bam, invert mode on, radius maximum, which is 32, minimum, maximum 255. There we go. Okay, it's set up and start. All right, so this one has 288 or 82,000 blocks it has to pull out. See, so just with these 2 digital miners, we're at 500,000 blocks. So imagine 2 times 8, right? That's going to be like 4 million blocks. That's crazy, but it's going to be so worth it. I'm super stoked about it. All right, guys, so I will not put you through the tedium of putting all this together, each and every piece. You guys have seen the process, you know what I'll be doing, so I'll be right back once I'm done. And then, of course, we'll have to kind of, unfortunately, we'll have to go through the waiting process, again, letting the computer run overnight or whatever, and get that done. So, guys, I'll be right back once this is done, and I'll give you guys a tour. All right, guys, that was the final digital miner that needed to be set up. That took a while, actually, a lot longer than you think. But after you've done something 16 times, you're pretty good at it. So anyway, each of these has over 200,000 items. It is pulling at a decent rate. So what I want to do is just go check on them all. I've realized that running is actually the fastest way for me to get anywhere. So thank you to the mecha suit, right? Also, I didn't realize I never did mark the spots for this last row, so I didn't have any glowstone there, which was weird. But anyway, so I'm running over here, just kind of double checking everything, making sure everything's on. I don't think auto eject matters because I have the importer kind of automatically pulling everything out, but I am doing it anyway. So I do need to double check something after we make sure that all of these are good. And that's, well, okay, so I suspect that as all 8 of these, or I'm sorry, all 16, wait, was that the last one? I think it is. Yeah, there's a lava over there. Okay. I suspect that with all 16 of these digital miners running at maximum speed, that we're going to run into a bottleneck where the QIO system literally just cannot intake the items. There's just too much traffic. That's something I suspect will happen. How to deal with it? I don't know. I guess just wait longer. That's the other thing. But the other thing that I'm most worried about, honestly, is power. I don't know if we're going to have enough power to keep all these things going stored up in my induction matrix. And so I'm going to, after I make sure all these things are running and then we get a really good, big, epic, like bird's eye view of what's going on, then I'm going to run to my house and to make sure that we're actually producing enough power to cover all this, because I don't know what that's going to look like. So now, guys, you can see all 16 digital miners. Let me just get up and above kind of where everything's kind of equidistant. All right, so if you're on your cell phone, you may not be able to see them, and I can't point to them because then it'll throw things off a little bit. But I mean, you can see that digital miner, and then straight over, you can see that one's just behind the hill, but then there's that one right up there, and then the one back there. So you can kind of see the overall area of how big this place will be. Now, as you can tell, there's like a little river going straight through the middle of it. I did fill that all in with gravel before I went and got the sponges. That spot right over there where that one digital miner sitting, that's whenever I started using sponges to kind of take out a lot of the water. And then a lot of the water was pulled out up there too, because that was in the way. So lots of work went into this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it'll turn out. Now, I'm assuming that it's going to be over 24 hours before it's done. And then, think about this, as it pulls all of the sand out, it's going to lose track of it. And so I'm going to have to run all 16 of these digital miners multiple times to capture all of the sand, all of the gravel, everything that's going to be falling. I also suspect that we're going to run into unfortunate situations where there's going to be water or there's going to be lava. I can handle the lava. I can turn it into obsidian and then mine it out. But the water, I'm going to have to run around and physically pull with sponges all the water out of the area. So that's going to be something else that I'll have to do. But yeah, so these are going to be running off camera. Now let me go just make sure that my power setup can handle all this. There we go. Okay, so we do have some lag issues, which should be expected. I mean, if you go into my QIO storage system, you look at the number of items I'm bringing in. I mean, look at this. I'm bringing in over 100 like per second, maybe like 100 every 2 seconds or so. I mean, that is a lot of items. That is not a small number of items. So yeah, that's crazy. So anyway, output is not bad, actually. Look at that. So I'm outputting at a maximum of about 200 kilojoules per tick. My input is only 8. I don't even know where that input's coming from, to be honest. But if I were to turn this baby on, I could easily charge this thing up if it starts to run out. So I'm actually not going to run this fusion reactor. And for some reason, it's not interacting with me. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to turn this thing on until I see a need for it. Right now, I think we're good. A terajoule is 1,000,000 kilojoules. So, or it might be 1 billion. It might be 1 billion. Yeah, because you have a kilojoule, then a megajoule, then a gigajoule, and then a terajoule. So this thing may be taking out like 0.2. I don't, it's not very much. So I'm not worried about power. Awesome. All right then. Well then guys, I'm going to head back over to here. There's a couple things I'd like to do off camera. Like I said, I want to find the exact middle point and turn that into my my waypoint. And you can see the area. You can see it. It's going to be this big giant square here. No water in the way. I have a fear that this wall might actually fall into it, because I think it's just perfect. So a few things need to be done off camera, but I mean, we're pulling out, like I said, it's like 4 million 4 million blocks or more to make this giant hole. And I will bring you guys right back in about a day or so once it's done. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to, well, no, I was about to promise that I would like bring you guys in it with the exact same like view. I'll try to. I'll bring you guys back in on this view where you can see the village kind of perspective. But it won't be perfect because there's some stuff I have to do off camera. So guys, that's all for me for right now. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. All right, family, so we're about a day later. This is the only thing I'm filming today, so I just didn't feel like putting a face cam on. But it's not done. It's clearly not done, but it's done. There's a lot that's been done. And as you can see, it kind of chooses a chunk, which is 16 by 16 blocks, and it does the entire thing. And obviously, once the sand, like the sandstone beneath the sand, is mined up, because it mines from the bottom to the top, then the sand falls, and the digital miner loses track of it. And so that's why there's a bunch of sand on the floor. So you have to actually go through and use a digital miner and get all that stuff. As you can see here, this is a good example of that. This is a chunk that's being mined out right now. And it, oh, okay, it was working. Ah, I saw a movement there. Yeah, so there's definitely something going on in this area right now. There's no sand, but there will be once it gets, you know, up a ways. But yeah, guys, so it's been about a day or so, give or take. Anyway, so, but the fence, though, I just want to give you guys a quick tour. The fence is something that I built just kind of waiting around. I didn't want the villagers to decide to wander off and fall to their death. So I've got the fence kind of placed all the way across, all the way to the water. I think that they're safe now. Look at this one, man. This one looks like it's making some serious progress. If I go just kind of click one of these, you'll see roughly where we're at, 129,000. So this one probably started out at 250,000 or so. So we're about halfway done. If I go to my portable QIO dashboard, you can see I'm at nearly 2 million cobblestone, and I've got 3.4 million items now. Remember, I had 800,000 yesterday, so it's making some great progress. I've been trying my best to keep up with all of the lava and just turn it into obsidian, and I'll just have to deal with each patch, because you don't know how deep they are, so I'll have to deal with each patch as it comes. In fact, it looks like there's some light coming through here. There's probably, yeah, I can get to this now. That'd be awesome. Yeah, so water bucket, turn this stuff into obsidian, and then it doesn't flow and cause problems. So it's gonna be a really, really big job getting all the lava, all the water, all the everything. I've got the sponges here for the water. Also, one more thing is I decided to expand the pit a bit. I'm gonna call this the pit. So this is now the center, okay? This is the middle. If I go into my map, you can see I've got it marked as deserts, and if I back up, you can now see that I have all 4 corners marked off, and you can see it's kind of pulling out like a checkerboard, right? It's taking it apart square by square, but you can see this outside ring is a little lighter than the others, and that's because I added more. So remember, in the last clip, it was 4x4 as far as digital miners are concerned. I decided I wanted a middle, and also wanted it to be bigger than 128 radius away from me from the middle. And if I had left it at 4x4, it would have been exactly 128 blocks from the middle for me to stand. And so if I make it a little bit bigger, then there's a buffer. That's what I wanted. And so I actually added, if you go out to here, you can see I added a fifth, basically a 5th row and a 5th column. And so now I've got a grand total of 25 digital miners. And so these are the ones that were added this morning, actually. I don't know, it just kind of dawned on me. It's, you know what, I really should do this a little bit bigger than I am now. So, oh, this is the last one here. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we're up to. I just wanted to give you guys the tour, and, you know, you can see that we have some, like, lava pits that are really close to the surface, and so I turned the top into obsidian, and then whatever's left on the bottom still flows downward, and sometimes the water flows down and turns it all into cobblestone. So, definitely going to be a process getting rid of all this, but I'm up to the task as soon as these all finish with the preliminary digging and cutting. But yeah, let's actually just like explore now. I'm just gonna kind of like run around. You see these little pillars. This is where I kind of like had to, from the edge, kind of go over and take out like a water block or whatever. You do have to have something to tack onto. So it's kind of looks interesting, doesn't it? I was roaming around getting rid of water, getting rid of lava, and I decided, you know what, I bet you the audience would appreciate seeing this, but it's definitely not going to be done today. I think I'm about halfway through now. So, oh, there we go. This is, now I can finally show you an example. Check this out. So it goes from the bottom, it always goes, it seems to go left to right if you're facing north, which I'm facing north right now, from the bottom, or even if you're on the top, it's left to right, facing north. So that's pretty cool. And again, it goes chunk to chunk from the bottom to the top. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So it's going to carrying through, and it's actually a really, really tall piece right now, man. It's going through. Look at this. Look at this. It's like whenever you're driving down the highway and they've taken out two sides and you're on the you know, in the car, and you know, it's like super flat and crazy. At least we have that in my area. So anyway, guys, that is it for this quick update, 5-minute clip, updating you guys in the halfway point. I will see you guys tomorrow, I guess. Hopefully it finishes overnight or whenever it decides to be done. And we'll move on. So with 25 digital miners, assuming it's about 250,000 blocks each, we should be at about 6 million or so total blocks that's going to be mined out. We'll find out. And of course, again, off camera, I'll be dealing with all the different lava pits and stuff like that. We want absolutely no blocks in this massive, I think it's 256 plus 64, so whatever that is, by 256 plus 64. That's how big this entire pit will be once it's all said and done. Anyway, guys, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll bring you guys back in roughly at this angle once again so you guys can see the progress. And we're back, guys. Only about 3 days ago, or 3 days later, did this actually finally finish. And then there was about a day, maybe 2 days worth of removing all of the lava. The water was the easy part, actually, because sponges work in a really, really wide radius. But taking out the lava, that was a problem. And so I had to eventually throw down like a water buckets and then come back up to these things and you know, turn them on. They'd suck up the obsidian, and then the water buckets would fill or flow down into the next, because I mean, some lava pits are, you know, 10 blocks deep or something. So anyway, guys, we have finished mining out this huge, massive hole. You know what? Let me just drop to the bottom so you guys can see it from the bottom. Look at this. This is insane. This is just crazy. And there's actually a middle mark. So I'll actually, you know what? Let me go jump over. Oh, looks like I missed some lava. That's not. Oh, never mind. How did I miss this? It's wow. It's a bonus. I'm gonna take all this stuff. Yeah. Name tags really what I'm after. I can't make them, so it's kind of nice to find them. But yeah. So every once in a while, in like the abandoned mine shafts or whatever, I would, you know, mine up everything except the items that would drop, obviously, so then we'd have to pull out the sand and the gravel, like I mentioned in the previous two scenes, but it would never grab the hopper minecarts, and so that was kind of nice finding that today. But here is my middle mark. This is the sponge, and as you can see, if I look directly up, that is one of the digital miners, and you can see there's a ring around that digital miner, and then there's a ring around that. So, guys, what do you think? That's a giant hole in the ground. So I realized that I didn't actually explain why. Okay, I mentioned something along the lines of making a one of those farms that, you know, like a mob farm or whatever, and I mentioned that, but what I didn't mention is why I need to take out all the other blocks. And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know already, but some of you may not. So as I go and take out these digital miners, which are all done, I've double, triple checked all of them. There's no lava below, there's no nothing, so I can start taking these out and stowing them away in my QIO drive. Let me just configure and hit start, reset. See, 0. So we're done. All of them are done. All 25 digital miners. Also, before I forget, look at my number of items. 8 million. Remember, I estimated it was like 6 million, but remember, all of my ores get quadrupled, and all of my, except for uranium, my uranium is quintupled. So that means that I'm showing a lot more items than I probably took out. It was probably somewhere around 6 million items, which is insane. But, and I assume that if you wanted to mine this out, like legit, oh dang, okay, let me jump down and grab that. This might be a little tricky. So if you wanted to mine this legit, like if you wanted to do this in vanilla, you could do it, but it would take you months. That's my estimation. It would take you months to get this done. So it's not like it's impossible. It would just take a long time. So with the power of Mekanism, we're able to do this in 3 days, which is pretty great. And again, the labor of actually having to get in there, it's a labor of love, really, getting in there and taking out all the lava too. And you know what's funny is you don't actually have to take out the lava. I mean, nothing can spawn on lava, but I just wanted it to be perfectly clean. So now we have a 320. We have a 320 by 320 pit. And with absolutely no blocks in there once we get rid of all these digital miners. And I'm gonna do the rest of these off camera because this is quite slow. But just wanted to show you guys that this is it. We're done. We have finished the process. But let me actually explain why now, because that is, to me, that's kind of a big deal. First of all, let me teleport. This is actually how I got around the easiest, was teleporting, by the way. I'd be on one digital miner. Let me show you. I'll jump up to this one. Click the entangleporter. Come on, there we go. Click the entangleporter, and then this is how I'd get around. It's literally the easiest way to do it. It's awesome. And then like jump over to here, and now I'm on the edge of the pit. So anyway, so the point, right? And I think most of you probably understand the point, but the way that mobs spawn is the way the game operates. It looks at every single block, from bedrock to the sky, right? It looks at every block from the ground, or from the bedrock to the sky within a 128 block radius of your character. And it randomly chooses blocks, and it says, okay, can something spawn here? And it looks at the blocks above it. Okay, well, there's a block directly above it, so obviously nothing can spawn here. And then it moves on. And that's how the game kind of figures it out. It's like that's where stuff can spawn. And so if you are building, let's say, a mob spawner or a mob grinder or whatever, and you're on the surface of the ground, well, if you're standing there and you're waiting on stuff to be ground up or whatever, it's got to spawn, right? But if you're standing on ground, that means you have, as we saw, millions of blocks below you. And the game is calculating, and it's saying, it's going through randomly selecting blocks and deciding, okay, can it spawn or can it not? And that stuff takes time. And even if you spawn proof all of the caves, all of the ravines, everything around you, it's still going to slow down your rates. You're not going to get as many mobs that actually spawn. And so that's why something like this is awesome, because right now it may or may not actually consider the bedrock. Even if it does, it is a drastic decrease in the amount of blocks that the game will look at. I mean, right now, and I don't think anything can spawn on sponges, but this was just a placement marker for me. I'm going to build something in the next episode, and I'm going to get rid of that anyway. But essentially what this is going to do is, if I build the farm right here, okay, then that means that if it doesn't consider the bedrock, and I don't know for sure, it doesn't really matter, because again, it's like a significant decrease. It's like 0.1% to the amount of possible spawning blocks as compared to normal. It's going to, the only blocks that it's going to be able to consider for spawning is going to be part of our farm. And obviously the only spot that is going to be allowed to spawn stuff is where we want them. So we're going to get crazy amounts of rates. I mean, we're going to get insane rates. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful. So that's kind of why. Try to put it simply, if you guys don't already get it, it's going to decrease the amount of blocks that the game tries to spawn stuff on. And that'll speed things up significantly. Because again, we don't want millions of blocks interfering. It's just going to be whatever. Again, the bedrock, if it even considers the bedrock, I don't think it does. It'll just consider the farm that we've built. So I hope that explanation makes sense. I hope that you guys are enjoying the view. You know, if I'm sitting here and I'm flying across, then you can see that, I mean, there's like, you know, there's ores and stuff in the walls and stuff. It's cool. There's some diamond. Not that we need it. We have the anti-protonic nucleosynthesizer. But yeah, guys, this thing is awesome. It's massive. It was a lot of work, but I think it's going to be worth it. And it's just also something that I've always wanted to try. So if you guys decide to do this in your own world, let me know how it goes. Let me know if you do it bigger than mine. I don't recommend going smaller. And again, it was like 6 million or so blocks. Also, let me look it up. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you guys one thing that's really cool. First of all, like here's a ravine. It's one of those covered ravines. And stuff is, you know, spawning inside of there because it's literally the only place that stuff can spawn, at least on the left half of me as I'm standing here. So that's kind of cool, but just kind of showing you guys that stuff can spawn insanely fast. But here is something that I wanted to show you right up here. This is super rare. It just happened to be on the edge of the area that we decided to spawn. It is a skeleton spawner and another skeleton spawner. So I literally have 2 skeleton spawners side by side. So I'll definitely be using those. You can actually move them, by the way, in Mekanism. You can move spawners. And so I'll probably be using these eventually. And it's going to be awesome. So anyway, guys, that's super rare. I just wanted to show you. But yeah, so next episode, because it has been several days. Look at that. That's so cool. Look at this. The walls. You could see abandoned mine shafts and stuff. Like the... Dude, that is so cool. Huh. There's a zombie. Hello, zombie. Oh, man. And you can see there's, like, lava everywhere on the mini-map, too. Yeah, this was a job, especially in certain spots. I think at one point, I was mining out obsidian, and there was over 1,000 obsidian in one digital miner. That's how much lava there was in certain spots. But again, it was just a labor of love. I'd turn on a podcast or YouTube video series that I'm enjoying or whatever, and I would just listen and work, and it was a good time. But yeah, so let me get back to where I started. There we go. This isn't where I started. This is where I'm going to end it. Next episode, guys, we're going to be building a mob grinder. It's going to be the most epic mob grinder that you can build. And I'm looking forward to it. But for now, that's going to be it for me today in this episode of Surviving with Mekanism, or we decided to call it, Experimenting with Mekanism. I'm just going to keep it Surviving with Mekanism. If you guys decide to do this in your own world, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or post it on my Discord server. Also, like and subscribe, join the Klaus family. Remember that I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all again next time.